Hello, I'm Chris Habben, president of AAMFT, and I hope this video finds you doing well. As you may know, it's the custom of the AAMFT board following a board meeting to provide our membership, both in a written form and through a video option like this, a synopsis of board business as it occurs throughout the year. The AAMFT Board of Directors met on October 3 and 4 of 2017 in Atlanta, Georgia, just in advance of the AAMFT annual conference that was held there. The board meeting really was quite active and featured some very productive discussion, debate, and some training. The AAMFT board engaged in some very timely work on developing and training around what we would call inclusivity allies as a follow-up to an inclusivity statement that was adopted at our March 2017 board meeting. The training that we had around that was conducted by Smarts Consulting, and it really endeavored to help the board better understand and to find ways to practice steps to utilize privilege and social advantage in a way to act as inclusivity allies. In a similar vein, the board also followed up on a report submitted by Tecker International that examined AAMFT governance policies, looking for particular barriers that might exist related to diversity. The report included some recommendations, and the board then directed staff to present a report for the December board meeting. We also were quite excited to be provided with a document called the Competencies for Family Therapists Working in a Healthcare Setting. And this document has been developed by a group of experts over the last 4 years and has been vetted through a number of experts in the field. So the board accepted and approved these competencies, and it really is important for me to say thank you to all of those members and participants who worked so diligently to create this incredibly useful document. I think it's going to be a tremendous asset, so thank you for that. In other matters that we dealt with, the board considered, as it always does, a consent agenda. And consent agenda items, as I mentioned before, are items that don't require any discussion or debate because they typically are items that are a matter of routine. And our policies allow the board to approve all consent agenda items together without any discussion. There is always the option, if a board member would like, to remove any of those items for individual discussion, and that's happened in the past. It did not this time. So the items that were included in the consent agenda item included board minutes from July and August, a president's report, a president-elect report, some financial information related to our second quarter financials, a 2018 proposed or draft budget that has been looked at as well by the executive committee, an update or an addition that was made to our awards that are offered. There were charge letters that were created for the Elections Council and a new component evaluation committee, as well as a task force called the JMFT Negotiation Task Force, which is going to be looking at the need or the possible need for developing guidelines for the CEO as he or she negotiates JMFT editor contracts. There were several appointments that were made. Board members and others were appointed to an awards committee, a component evaluation committee, to the Elections Council, to the JMFT Editor Search Negotiations Guidelines Task Force that I was just mentioning, the Performance Evaluation Committee. And we had a unique circumstance that because the bylaws passed, the position on the board related to the Council of Division Presidents will be ending because the CDP will be ending. But there was a proviso in that bylaw that allowed us to appoint a person for that now emptied vacation, or for that emptied position, and so we made an appointment there as well. Uh, the board also heard a report from the Chief Executive Officer of recent AAMFT activity and accomplishment that has been going on. Also heard a report from the AAMFT staff regarding a series of technical and divisional issues related to the transition that's happening as we now are moving away from the mandatory two-tier system of governance that has been as a result of the bylaws vote in the summer. The board also considered a motion to alter the governance structure of the Research and Education Foundation now that the foundation has matured somewhat administratively, and this new position puts the foundation in line with best practices for foundations such as this, and it also positions the foundation better in a way to move forward with this more modernized governance structure to do the work of fundraising. The board, as it always does, conducted a mid-meeting self-evaluation process as it's described in our governance policy. We also heard report from the AAMFT staff regarding the Leadership Certificate Program, and also spent some time, as is common, just preparing as a board for the different events that would be occurring in the AAMFT annual conference that was going to follow that. So that really is a synopsis of the activity that occurred in our board meeting. We adjourned on Tuesday, October 4 at 3:20. And moved right into the work of the AAMFT annual conference. I hope this is helpful to you, and again, I hope this video finds you doing well. Thank you so much.